Hung be the heavens with black. Yield day tonight. Comments and porting change of times and states. Brandish your crystal tresses in the sky. King Henry V, too famous to live long. England ne'er lost a king of so much worth.
England ne'er had a king until his time. Virtue he had, deserving to command. His brandished sword did blind men with his beams. His arms spread wider than a dragon's wings. What should I say? His deeds exceed all speech. He ne'er lift up his hand, but conquered.
We mourn in black. Why mourn we not in blood? Henry is dead and never shall revive. What, shall we curse the planets of mishap that have plotted thus our glory's overthrow? Or shall we thank the French conjurers and sorcerers that, afraid of him, by magic verses have thus contrived his end?
Was a king blessed of the King of Kings. Upon the French the dreadful judgment day, so dreadful will not be as was his sight. The battles of the Lord of hosts he fought, the church's prayers made him so prosperous.
The church? Where is it? Had not churchmen prayed, his thread of life had not so soon decayed. None do you like but an effeminate prince, whom like a schoolboy you may overawe.
Gloucester, whate'er we like, thou art protector, and lookest to command the prince and realm. Thy wife is proud, she holdeth thee in awe more than God or religious churchman may.
Name not religion, for thou lovest the flesh, and ne'er throughout the year to church thou goest, except it be to pray against thy foes.
Peace! Cease these jars and rest your minds in peace. Let's to the altar. Heralds, wait on us. Henry V, thy ghost I invocate. Prosper this realm, keep it from civil broils, combats with adverse planets in the heavens.
My honorable lords, health to you all. Sad tidings bring I to you out of France, of loss, of slaughter and discomfiture. Guyenne, Champagne, Rouen, Rheims, Orleans, Paris, Gisors, Poitiers are all quite lost.
What sayest thou, lady? Here by Henry's course. Speak softly, or the loss of those great towns will make him burst his lead and rise from death.
Is Paris lost? Is Rouen yielded up?
How are they lost? What treachery was used?
No treachery, but want of men and money. Amongst the soldiers, this is moderate, that here you maintain several factions, and whilst a field should be dispatched and fought, you are disputing of your generals. Awake, awake, English nobility! Let not sloth in your horrors new begot.
Were our tears wanting to this funeral, these tidings would call forth their flowing tides.
Me they concern. Regent, I am of France. Oh, give me my steel and coat. I will fight for France. Away with these disgraceful, wailing rogues! Wounds will I lend the French instead of eyes to weep their intermissive miseries.
Lords, view these letters full of bad mischance. France is revolted from the English quite. The Dauphin Charles is crowned King of Rheims. Rainier, Duke of Anjou, doth take his part. The Duke of Alençon flieth to his side.
The Dauphin crowned king? All fly to him, or whither shall we fly from this reproach?
We will not fly, but to our enemies' throats! Bedford, if thou be slack, I will fight it out!
Gloucester, why doubt'st thou of my forwardness? An army have I mustered in my thoughts, wherewith already France is overrun.
My gracious lords, to add to your laments, I must inform you of a dismal fight betwixt the stout Lord Talbot and the French.
What? Wherein Talbot o'ercame, is so?
Oh no, wherein he was o'erthrown, having full scarce 6,000 in his troop by 23,000 of the French, was round encompassed and set upon. More than 3 hours the fight continued, where valiant Talbot enacted wonders with his sword and lance. The French exclaimed the devil was in arms. All the whole army stood agazed on him. Here had the conquest been fully sealed up if Sir John Falstaff had not played the coward. He, being in the vayward and placed behind, with purpose to relieve and follow, cowardly fled, not having struck one stroke. Hence grew the general wreck and massacre. Enclosed were they with their enemies. A base Walloon, to win the Dauphin's grace, thrust Talbot in the back with a spear, whom all France with their chief assembled strength dares not presume to look once in the face.
Is Talbot slain? Then I will slay myself.
Oh no, he lives, but is took prisoner.
4 of their lords I'll change for one of ours. Farewell, my masters, to my task will I. Bonfires in France, forthwith I am to make, to keep St. George's feast withal. 10,000 soldiers with me I will take, whose bloody deeds shall make all Europe quake.
So you had need. For Orleans is besieged, the English army grows weak and faint, the Earl of Salisbury craves supply and hardly keeps his men from mutiny, since they, so few, watch such a multitude.
Remember, lords, your oaths to Henry sworn, either to quell the Dauphin utterly, or to bring him in obedience to your yoke.
I do remember it, and here take my leave to go about my preparation.
I'll to the tower, with all the haste I can, to view the artillery and munition, and then I will proclaim young Henry king.
And to Eltham will I, where the young king is.
Each has his place and function to attend. I am left out. For me, nothing remains. But long I will not be Jack out of office. The king from Eltham I intend to steal, and sit at chiefest stern of public weal.
Mars! His true moving, even in the air and so on the earth, to this day is not known. Light did he shine upon the English sides. Now we are victors. Upon us he smiles. What towns of any moment but we have at pleasure. Here we lie near Orleans. Otherwise the famished English, like pale ghosts, finally besiege us 1 hour in a month.
Let's raise the siege. Why leave we idly here? Talbot is taken whom we want to fear. Remaineth none but mad brain Salisbury. No money hath he to make war.
Sound! Sound the alarm! We will usher them now for the honor of the fallen French! Ah!
Salisbury is a desperate homicide. He fighteth as one weary of his life. The other lords, like lions wanting food, do rush upon us as their hungry prey. Lean, raw bone rascals! Who would ever suppose they had such courage and audacity?
Let us leave this town, for they are harebrained slaves, and hunger will force them to be more eager. Of those I know them, rather with their teeth, the walls they'll tear down to forsake the siege.
Where's the prince doth back? I have news for him. Be not dismayed, for succor is at hand. A holy maid hither with me I bring, which by a vision sent to her from heaven ordained it is to raise the tedious siege and drive the English forth the bounds of France. The spirit of deep prophecy she hath exceeding the 9 sibyls of old Rome. What's past and what's to come she can descry. Speak! Shall I call her in? Believe my words, for they are certain and infallible.
No, call her in. was first to try her skill, and yea, send thou as thou found in my place. Question her proudly, let thy looks be stern. By this means shall we see what skills she hath.
Fair maid, is thou wilt do these wondrous feats?
Grenier, is thou that thinkest to beguile me? Where is the Dauphin? Come from behind. I know thee well, thou never seen before. Be not amazed. There's nothing in for me.
She takes upon her bravely at first dash.
Dauphin, I am by birth a shepherd's daughter, my wit untrained in any kind of art. Heaven and our Lady Gracious have it pleased to shine on my contemptible estate. God's mother deigned to appear to me, and in a vision full of majesty, willed me to leave my base vocation and free my country from calamity. Ask me what question thou canst possible, and I will answer unpremeditated. My courage. Try by combat, if thou darest, and thou shalt find that I exceed my sex. Resolve on this. Thou shalt be fortunate if thou receive me for thy warlike mate.
Thou hast astonished me with thy high terms. Only this proof of thy valor make. In single combat thou shalt buckle with me. And if thy vanquishes, thy words are true. Otherwise, I'll renounce all confidence.
I am prepared. Here is my keen-edged sword.
And come! In God's name I fear no woman.
And while I live, I'll ne'er fly from a man.
Slay thy hands! Thou art an Amazon, and fightest with the sword of Deborah.
God's mother helps me, else I were too weak.
Whoever helps thee, 'tis thou that must help me. Impatiently I burn with thy desire. My heart and hands have once been subdued. Excellent Pucelle, if thy name be so, let me, thy servants, and not sovereign be.
I must not yield to any rights of love, for my profession is sacred from above. When I have tasted all thy false romance, then will I think upon a recompense.
Meantime, look gracious on thy prostrate throne.
My lord, methinks, is very long in talk.
Doubtless he shrives this woman to her smock, else ne'er could he so long protract his speech.
My lord, where are you? What devise you on? Shall we give over Orleans or no?
Why no, I say. Just trust for recreant, fight to the last gasp. I will be your guard.
She said no confirm. We will fight this out.
Assigned am I to be the English scarf. This night, the siege assuredly are raised. Glory is like a circle in the water, which never ceases to enlarge itself till by broad spreading, it dispersed to naught. With Henry's death, the English circle ends. Dispersed are the glories it included.
Was Mohammed inspired with a dove? Thou art with an eagle art inspired. White fall of Venus falling down on the earth. How may I reverently worship thee enough?
Leave off delays and let us raise the siege.
Woman, do what thou canst to save our honors. Drive them from Orleans and be immortalized.
Presently we'll try. Come, let's worry about it. No prophet will I trust if she prove false.
Break up the gates! I'll be your warranties! Shall I be flouted thus by dunghill grooms?
What noise is this? What traitors have we here?
Lieutenant, is it you whose voice I hear? Open the gates! Here's Gloucester that would enter.
Have patience, noble Duke. I may not open. The Cardinal of Winchester forbids. From her I have express commandment that thou nor none of thine shall be let in.
Faint-hearted Vernon prizes her for me. Arrogant Winchester, that haughty prelate, whom Henry, our late sovereign, ne'er could brook. Thou art no friend to God or to the king. Open the gates, or I'll shut thee out shortly.
How now, ambitious Humphrey? What means this?
Peeled priest, dost thou command me to be shut out?
I do, thou most usurping proditor, and not protector of the king or realm.
Stand back, thou manifest conspirator, thou that contrives to murder our dead lord, thou that gives whores indulgences to sin.
Nay, stand thou back. I will not budge a foot. Do what thou darest. I beard thee to thy face.
What? Am I dared and bearded to my face? In spite of pope or dignities of church, here by the cheeks I'll drag thee up and down. Thee I'll chase hence, thou wolf in sheep's array. Out, tawny coat, out, scarlet hypocrite! Ugh.
My lords! You being supreme magistrates thus contumeliously should break the peace.
Peace! Lady, thou knowest little of my wrongs. Here's Beaufort, who regards nor God nor king, hath here distrained the tower to her use.
Here's Gloucester, a foe to citizens that seeks to overthrow religion because he is protector of the realm and would have armor here out of the tower to crown himself king and suppress the prince.
I will not answer thee with words, but blows.
What rests for me in this tumultuous strife but to make open proclamation? All manner of men assembled here in arms this day against God's peace and the king's, we charge and command you in his highness's name to repair to your several dwelling places, and not to wear, handle, or use any sword, weapon, or dagger henceforward upon pain of death.
Gloucester, we will meet. To thy cost, be sure. Thy heart blood I will have for this day's work.
I'll call for clubs if you will not away. This cardinal's more haughty than the devil.
Vernon, farewell. Thou dost but what thou mayest.
Abominable Gloucester, guard thy head, for I intend to have it ere long.
Good God, these nobles should such stomachs bear.
Talbot! Oh, my life, my joy! Again returned. How wert thou handled, being prisoner? Or by what means gotst thou to be released?
Well, the Duchess Bedford had a prisoner called the brave Lord Pontonze Centreals. For him was I exchanged and ransomed. But the treacherous Falstaff wounds my heart, whom with my bare fists I would execute if I now had him brought into my power.
Yet still tell'st thou not how thou wert entertained?
With scoffs and scorns and contumelious taunts. In open marketplace produced they me to be a public spectacle for all. Here, said they, is the terror of the French, the scarecrow that affrights our children so. Then broke I from the officers that led me, and with my nails digged stones out of the ground, to hurl at the beholders of my shame. My grisly countenance made others fly. None durst come near for fear of sudden death. In iron walls they deemed me not secure, so great fear of my name amongst them was spread, that they supposed I could rend bars of steel. And if I did but stir out of my bed, well, ready they were to shoot me to the heart.
Oh, it grieves me to hear what torments you've endured, but we shall be revenged sufficiently. Here, it is supper time in Orleans, and here, through this grate, I count each one, and view the Frenchmen how they fortify.
But I see this city must be famished, or with Light skirmishes enfeeble it.
Oh, Lord, have mercy on us, wretched sinners.
What chance is this that suddenly hath crossed us? Speak, Salisbury, at least if thou canst, speak. How farest thou, mirror of all martial men? Accursed tower! Accursed fatal hand that hath contrived this woeful tragedy. Yet liv'st thou, Salisbury? Though thy speech doth fail, one eye thou hast to look to heaven for grace. Salisbury, cheer thy spirit with this comfort. Thou shalt not die while... He beckons with his hand and smiles on me, as who should say, when I am dead and gone, remember to revenge me on the French. Plantagenet, I will, and like thee, Nero, play on the lute beholding the towns burn. Wretched shall France be only in my name. What tumults in the heavens? Whence cometh this alarum and the noise?
Oh, father! Hark! The French are gathered head. The Dauphin with one Joan Le Pucelle joined, a holy prophetess new risen up, is come with a great power to raise a siege!
Hear how dying Salisbury doth groan. It irks his heart he cannot be revenged. Frenchmen, I'll be a Salisbury to you. Pucelle or puzzle, Dauphin or dogfish. Your hearts I'll stamp out with my horse's heels and make a quagmire of your mingled brains. Convey me Salisbury into his tent, and then we'll try what these dastard Frenchmen dare. Where is my strength, my valor, and my force? Oh, our English troops retire, I cannot stay them. A woman clad in armor chaseth them. Here she comes. And devil I'll have a bout with thee. Devil or devil's dam, I'll conjure thee. Blood will I draw from thee. Thou art a witch. And straightway give thy soul to him thou servest.
Come, come, 'tis only I that must disgrace thee.
Heaven! Can you suffer hell so to prevail? My breast I'll burst with straining of my courage, and from my shoulders crack my arms asunder.
Damn it! Farewell. Thy hour is not yet come. I must go victual Orleans forthwith. This day is ours, as many more shall be.
All my thoughts are whirled like a potter's wheel. I know not where I am, nor what I do. They called us for our fierceness English dogs, now like two whelps we crying run away. Hark, countrymen! Either renew the fight or tear the lions out of England's coat! Ah! into your trenches. You all consented unto Salisbury's death, for none would strike a stroke in his revenge. Pucelle is entered into Orleans, in spite of us or aught what we could do. Oh, would I were to die with Salisbury! The shame hereof will make me hide my head.
Adventure waving colors on the walls! Rescue des Orléans from the English! Thus, je l'appuie sur la performed the word.
How shall I honor thee for his success? Thy promises are like a Thomas garden, that one day bloomed and were fruitful the next. Triumph, and thy glory of prophetess.
Why bring not out the bells aloud throughout the town? Dauphin commands the citizens to make bonfires and banquets and feasts in the open streets to celebrate the joy that God hath given us.
All France will be replete with mirth and joy when they shall hear how we have played the men.
Is Joan not we by whom the day is won? For which I will divide my crown with her, and all the priests and friars in my realm shall in procession sing her in their praises. No longer on Saint Denis will they cry, but John of Pucelle shall be France's saint. Come in, let's banquet royally after this golden day of victory.
Great Bedford and redoubted Burgundy, this happy night the Frenchmen are secure, having all day caroused and banqueted. Embrace we then this opportunity as fitting best to quittance their deceit contrived by art and baleful sorcery.
Oh, coward of France! How much he wrongs his fame, despairing of his own arm's fortitude to join with witches and the help of hell.
Let them practice and converse with spirits. God is our fortress, in whose conquering name let us resolve to scale their flinty bulwarks.
Ascend, brave Talbot. We will follow thee.
Not altogether. Better far, I guess, that we do make our entrance several ways.
Agreed. I'll to yond corner.
And I to this.
Here will Talbot mount on make his grave. Now, Salisbury, for thee, and for the right of English Henry shall this night appear how much in duty I am bound to both.
How now, my lords? What, all unready so?
Unready, aye. I'm glad we escaped so well.
I think this Talbot be a fiend from hell.
If not of hell, the heaven shall favour him.
Here cometh Charles. I marvel how he sped.
Holy Joan was his defensive guard.
Is this thy cunning now to see full time? Did it further us withal, make us partakers of a little gain, that now our losses might be 10 times so much?
Wherefore is Charles impatient with his friend? At all times will you have my part and neck? Sleeping or waking must I still prevail, or will you blame and lay the fault on me? Improvident soldiers! Had your watch been good, this sudden mischief never could have fallen.
Duke Alexandra, this was your default. That being captain of the watch tonight did look no better to that weighty charge.
Had all your quarters been as safely kept as that whereof I had the governance, we had not been so shamefully surprised.
Mine was secure.
And so was mine, my lord.
Then how or which way did they first break in?
Question, my lords, no further of the case how or which way. 'Tis sure they found some place but weakly guarded where the breach was made, and now there is no other shit but this. To gather our soldiers, scattered and dispersed, and lay new platforms to damage them.
The day begins to break, and night is fled, whose pitchy mantle overveiled the earth. Here, sound retreat and cease our hot pursuit.
Bring forth the body of great Salisbury, and here advance it in the marketplace. Now have I paid my vow unto his soul. For every drop of blood was drawn from him, there hath at least 5 Frenchmen died tonight, and that hereafter ages may behold what ruin happened in revenge of him. But lords, in all our bloody massacre, I muse we met not with the Dauphin's grace, his new-come champion, virtuous Joan of Arc, nor any of his false confederates.
Myself, as far as I could well discern, for smoke and dusky vapours of the night, am sure I scared the Dauphin and his trull, when arm in arm they both came swiftly running, like to a pair of loving turtle doves that could not leave asunder day or night. After that, things are set in order here. We'll follow them with all the power we have.
All ale, my lords. Which of this princely train call ye the warlike Talbot for his acts so much applauded to the realm of France?
Here is the Talbot. Who would speak with him?
The virtuous lady, Countess of Auvergne, with modesty admiring thy renown, by me entreat, great lord, thou would vouchsafe to visit our poor castle where she lies, that she may boast she hath beheld the man whose glory fills the world with loud report.
Is it even so? Nay, then I see our wars will turn unto a peaceful comic sport when ladies crave to be encountered with. You may not, my lord, despise her gentle suit.
There, trust me then, for when a world of men could not prevail with all their oratory, yet hath a woman's kindness overruled. And therefore tell her I return great thanks, and in submission will attend on her. Will not your honors bear me company?
No, truly, it is more than manners will.
Well then, alone, since there's no remedy, I mean to prove this lady's courtesy. Come hither, Sirrah. You perceive my mind?
Do, my lord, and mean accordingly.
The plot is laid. If all things fall out right, I shall as famous be by this exploit as Scythian Tamris by Cyrus' death. Great is the rumor of this dreadful night, and is achievement of no less account. And he is welcome. What, is this the man? Is this the Talbot so much feared abroad that with his name the mothers still bear babes? I see report is fabulous and false. I thought I should have seen some Hercules, another Hector for his grim aspect and large proportion of his strong-knit limbs. It cannot be this weak and withered shrimp should strike such terror to his enemies.
Madam, I have been bold to trouble you, but since your ladyship is not at leisure, I'll sort some other time to visit you. I go to certify you Talbot's here.
If thou be he, then thou art prisoner.
Prisoner? To whom?
To me, bloodthirsty lord. And for that cause I trained thee to my house. Long time thy shadow hath been thrall to me, for in my gallery thy picture hangs. But now the substance shall endure the like, and I shall chain these arms and legs of thine. Thou hast by tyranny these many years wasted our country, slain our citizens, and held our sons and husbands captivate. Laughest thou, wretch? Thy mirth shall turn to mourn.
I love to see your ladyship so fond to think you have aught but Talbot's shadow whereon to practice your severity.
What, art not thou the man?
I am indeed.
Then have I substance too?
No. I am but a shadow of myself. You are deceived. My substance is not here.
This is the riddling merchant for the nonce. He is not here, and yet he would be here. How can these contrarieties agree?
That will I show you presently. How say you, madam? Are you now persuaded that Talbot is but a shadow of himself?
Victorious Talbot, pardon my abuse. I find thou art no less than fame hath rooted, and more than may be gathered by thy shape. Let my presumption not provoke thy wrath, for I am sorry that with reverence I did not entertain thee as thou art.
Be not dismayed, fair lady, nor misconstrue the mind of Talbot as you did mistake the outward composition of his body. What you have done hath not offended me, nor other satisfaction do I crave, but only, with your patience, that we may taste of your wine, and see what cates you have, for soldiers' stomachs always serve them well.
With all my heart, and think me honored to feast so great a warrior in my house.
Within the temple halls we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient.
Then say at once if I maintain the truth, or else was wrangling Somerset in the error.
Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and yet could not wrap my will to it, and therefore wrap the law unto my will.
Judge you, my Lady Warwick, then between us.
Between two hawks which flies the higher pitch, between two horses which doth bear him best, between two girls which hath the merriest eye, I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a dog.
Tut, here is a mannerly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side that any purblind eye might find it out.
And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident that it should glimmer through a blind man's eye.
Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak, in dumb significance proclaim your thoughts. Let he that is a true-born gentleman, if he suppose that I have pleaded the truth, from off this briar, pluck a white rose with me.
Let him that is no coward nor no flatterer, but dare maintain the party of the truth, pluck a red rose off this thorn with me.
I love no color, and without all color of base insinuating flattery, I pluck this white rose with Plantagenet.
And I pluck this red rose with Somerset, and say withal I think he held the right.
Stay, ladies, lords, and look you pluck no more till you conclude that they upon whose side the fewest roses have been cropped from the tree shall yield the other in the right opinion.
My good Lady Vernon, it is well objected. If I have fewest, I subscribe in silence.
And I.
Then, for the truth and plainness of this case, I pluck this pale and maiden blossom here, giving my verdict to the white rose side.
Prick not your finger as you pluck it off, lest bleeding you do paint the white rose red and fall on my side so against your will.
If I, my lord, for my opinion bleed, opinion shall be surgeon to my hurt, and keep me on the side where still I am.
Now, Somerset, where is your argument?
Here in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in a bloody red.
Meantime, your cheeks do counterfeit our roses, for pale they look with fear, as witnessing the truth on our side.
No, Plantagenet, 'tis not fear, but anger, that thy cheeks do blush for pure shame to counterfeit our roses. Well, I'll find friends to wear my bleeding roses that dare maintain what I have said is true, where false Plantagenet dare not be seen.
Now by this maiden blossom in my hand, I scorn thee and thy fashion, peevish boy.
Away, away, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with her.
Now, by God's will, thou wrongest her, Somerset. Her grandfather was Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to the third Edward, King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root?
Bears him on the place's privilege, or durst not for his craven heart say thus.
Oh, by him that made me, I'll maintain my words on any plot of ground in Christendom. Was not thy father, Richard, Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And by his treason standst not thou attainted, corrupted, and exempt from ancient gentry? His trespass yet lives, guilty in thy blood. Until thou be restored, thou art a yeoman.
My father was attached, not attainted, condemned to die for treason, but no traitor, and this I'll prove on better men than Somerset. Or growing time once ripened to my will, look to it well, and say you are well warned.
Oh, thou shalt find us ready for thee still. And know us by these colours for thy foes, for these my friends in spite of thee shall wear.
And by my soul, by this pale and angry rose, as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate will I forever and my faction wear, whether it wither with me to my grave or flourish to the height of my degree.
Go forth and be choked on thy ambition, and so farewell until we see thee next.
Have with thee, Paul. Farewell, ambitious Richard.
How I am braved and must perforce endure it.
This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament, called for the truce between Winchester and Gloucester. And if now not then be created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. Meantime, in signal of my love to thee, will I upon thy party wear this rose. And here a prophecy. This brawl today shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death and deadly night.
Good Mistress Vernon, I am bound to you that you on my behalf would pluck a flower.
In your behalf still will I wear the same.
Thanks, gentle lady. Come, let us three to dinner. I dare say this quarrel will drink blood another day.
Let dying Mortimer here rest himself. And these grey locks, the pursuivants of death, Nestor-like aged in an age of care, argue the end of Edmund Mortimer. These eyes, like lamps whose wasting oil is spent, wax dim as drawing to their exigent. Oh, yet are these feet, whose strengthless stay is numb, unable to support this lump of clay, swift-winged with a desire to get to a grave, as witting I no other comfort have. Since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, this loathsome sequestration have I had, and even since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honor and inheritance. But now, the arbitrator of despairs, just death, kind umpire of men's miseries, with sweet enlargement doth dismiss me hence. I would her troubles likewise were expired, that so she might recover what was lost.
My lord, your loving niece is hither come.
Richard Plantagenet, my friend, art thou come?
Your niece, the late despised Richard, comes.
And now declare, sweet stem, from great York's great stock, why didst thou say that word despised?
This day, in argument upon a case, some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, and among which terms he used his lavish tongue, and did upbraid me with my father's death. Therefore, dear uncle, for my father's sake, in honor of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause my father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head.
I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry IV, grandfather to this king, deposed his nephew Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent, during whose reign the Percys of the north endeavored my advancement to the throne. I was next, by birth and parentage, for by my mother I derive it am from Lionel, Duke of Clarence, the third son of King Edward III, whereas he from John of Gaunt doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line. They labored to plant the rightful heir. I lost my liberty, and they their lives. Thy father, Earl of Cambridge, then derived from Edmund Langley, Duke of York, marrying my sister, that thy mother was, levied an army, weening to redeem, and have installed me in the diadem. But as the rest, so fell that noble earl, and was beheaded. Thus Mortimers, in whom the tide rested, were suppressed.
Of which, my lord, your honor is the last.
True. And thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warrant death. Thou art my heir. The rest I wish thee gather, but yet be wary in thy studious care.
Thy grave adonishments prevail with me, but yet methinks my father's execution was nothing less than bloody tyranny.
With silence, niece, must thou be politic. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain not to be removed.
Oh, uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem the passage of your age.
Mourn not, except thou sorrow for my good. Only give order for my funeral, and so farewell. and fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life, in peace and war.
And peace, no war, befall thy parting soul. In prison thou hast spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpassed the days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine, let that rest. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with the ambition of a meaner sort, and for those wrongs, those bitter injuries which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honor to redress. Therefore, haste I to Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make my ill the advantage to my good.
Comest thou with deep premeditated lines? With written pamphlets? Studiously devised? Humphrey of Gloucester, if thou canst accuse, do it without invention, suddenly.
Presumptuous priest! This place commands my patience, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonored me. Thou art a most pernicious usurer, lascivious, wanton, more than well beseems such ones of thy profession and degree. And for thy treachery, what's more manifest? In that thou laidst a trap to take my life, as well at London Bridge as at the Tower. Besides, I fear me, if thy thoughts were sifted, the king, thy sovereign, is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart.
Gloucester, I do defy thee. Lords, vouchsafe to give me leave to what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse, as he would have me be, then how am I so poor? And for dissension, who prefereth peace more than I do, except I be provoked? No, it is not that offense. It is that no one should sway but he. No one but he should be about the king, and that engenders thunder in his breast and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good...
As good, thou bastard of my grandfather!
Aye, lordly sir, and what are you, I pray, but one imperious in another's throne?
Am I not protector, saucy priest?
Am I not a prelate of the church?
Yes. As an outlaw in a castle, keeps and useth it to patronage her theft!
Rome shall remedy this.
Rome thither then.
It were your duty, lady, to forbear.
I see the bishop be not overborne.
Methinks my lord should be religious, and know the office which belongs to such.
Methinks my lady should be humbler, that if not a prelate, so to plead.
Yes, when her holy state is touched so near.
State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king?
Uncle of Gloucester, and kind Winchester, I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your loving hearts in amity. Oh, what a scandal it is to our crown that two such noble peers as ye should jar. Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell civil dissension is a viperous worm that gnaws the bowels of the Commonwealth. What tumult's this?
An uproar, I dare warrant, begun through the malice of the bishop's men.
Oh, my lords and virtuous Henry, the Bishop and Duke of Gloucester's men, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebblestone, do pelt so fast at one another's pate that many have their giddy brains knocked out.
We charge you on allegiance to ourselves to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray you, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife.
You of my household leave this peevish broil, and set this unaccustomed fight aside. Stay, I say, and if you love me, as you say you do, let me persuade you to forbear a while.
Oh, how this discord doth afflict my soul! Can you, my loving Winchester, behold my sighs and tears, and will not once relent? Who should be pitiful if you be not?
Yield, my Lord Protector, yield, Winchester. You see what mischief and what murder, too, has been enacted through your enmity. Then be at peace, except ye thirst for blood.
Ye shall submit, or I will never yield.
Compassion on the king commands me stoop, or I would see her heart out ere the priest should ever get that privilege of me.
See, behold, my Lady Winchester, the Duke hath banished moody, discontented fury. Why look you still so stern and tragical?
Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand.
Fie! Fie, Aunt Beaufort! I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin, and will you not maintain the thing you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same?
Sweet king, the bishop hath a kindly gird. For shame, my Lady Winchester, relent.
Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, and hand for hand I give.
See here, my friends and loving countrymen, this token serveth for a flag of truce betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God, as I dissemble not.
Oh, kind uncle, loving Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract. Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship, as your lords have done.
Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which, in the right of Richard Plantagenet, we do exhibit to your majesty.
Well urged, my Lady Warwick, for sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right.
Oh, and those occasions, uncle, were a force. Therefore, my loving lords, it is our pleasure that Richard be restored to her blood.
Let Richard be restored to her blood, and so shall father's wrongs be recompensed.
As willeth the rest, so willeth Winchester.
If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give that doth belong unto the house of York, from which you spring by lineal descent.
Thy humble servant vows obedience and humble service until the point of death.
Stoop then, and set your knee against my foot, and in reguerdon of thy duty done, I gird thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise, created a princely Duchess of York.
And so rise, Richard, as thy foes may fall, and as my duty springs, so perish they that grudge one thought against your majesty.
Welcome,
High Prince, the great Duchess of York.
Now will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas and to be crowned in France. The presence of a king engenders love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disanimates his enemies.
When Gloucester says the word, good Henry goes, for friendly counsel cuts off many foes.
Your ships already are in readiness.
Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension, grown betwixt the peers, burns under feigned ashes of forged love, and will at last break out into a flame. And now I fear that fatal prophecy which in the time of Henry V was in the mouth of every sucking babe, that Henry born at Monmouth win all, and Henry born at Windsor lose all.
These are the city gates. The gates of Rouen, through which our policy must make a breach. Talk like the vulgar sort of marketmen that come to gather money for their car. If we have entrance, as I hope we shall, and that we find the slothful watch but weak, I'll by a sign give notice to our friends that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them.
Qui est là?
Paysans, pauvres jeunes de France, poor market folks that come to sell their corn.
Enter, go in, the market bell is rung.
Now, Rouen, I'll shake thy bulwarks to the ground.
Saint-Denis blessed this happy stratagem, and once again we will sleep secure on Rouen.
Here entered Bacillin of practice. Now she is there, how will she specify where is the best and safest passage?
By thrusting out a torch from yonder tower, which, once discerned, shows that her meaning is no way to that for weakness, which she entered.
See, noble Charles, the beacon of our friend, the burning torch in yonder turret stands.
Now shine is like a comet of a wrench, a prophet to the fall of all our foes! Ah!
Thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, if Talbot but survive thy treachery. Oh, Pucelle, that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hellish mischief unawares, that hardly we escaped the pride of France.
Good morrow, gallants. Want ye call for bread? I think the Duchess Valenti will fast before she'll buy again. It's too late. 'Tis full of doubting, and do you like the taste?
Scoff on, vile fiend and shameless courtesan. I toss thee along to choke thee with thine own and make thee curse the harvest of that corn.
Your grace may starve perhaps before that time.
Oh, let no words but deeds revenge this treason!
Damsel, I'll have a bout with you again, else let Talbot perish with this shame.
Are ye so hot, sir? Yet, Pucelle hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, I will follow.
Dare ye come forth and meet us in the field?
Belike your lordship takes us then for fools to try if that arm be ours or no.
I speak not to that railing Hecate, but unto thee, Alençon, and the rest. Will ye, like soldiers, come and fight it out?
Signor, no.
Signor, hang! Base muleteers of France. Like peasant footboys do they keep the walls, and dare not take up arms like gentlemen.
Away, captains, let's get us from the walls, for Talbot means no goodness by his looks. Goodbye, my lord. We came but to tell you that we are here.
And there will we be too, ere it be long. Else reproach be Talbot's greatest fame. Thou, Burgundy, by honour of thy house, pricked on by public wrongs sustained in France, either to get the town again or die. And I, as sure as English Henry lives, so sure I swear to get the town or die.
My vows are equal partners with thy vows.
There we go. Regard this dying prince, the valiant Duchess Bedford. Come, my lady. We will bestow you in some better place, fitter for sickness and for crazy age.
Lord Talbot, do not so dishonor me. Here will I sit before the walls of Rouen, and will be partner of your weal or woe. Methinks I should revive the soldiers' hearts, because I ever felt them as myself.
Undaunted spirit in a dying breast. Then be it so. Heavens, keep our Bedford safe. And now no more ado, brave Burgundy, but gather we our forces out of hand and set upon our boasting enemy.
Whither away, Sir John Falstaff, in such haste?
Whither away? To save myself by flight, we are like to have the overthrow again!
What? Will you fly and leave Lord Talbot?
Aye, all the Talbots in the world to save my life!
Cowardly knight, ill fortune follow thee!
Thou, quiet soul, depart when heaven please. For I have seen our enemies overthrow. What is the trust or strength of foolish men? They that of late were daring with their scoffs are fain and glad by flight to save themselves.
Lost and recovered in a day again. This is a double honor, Burgundy.
Warlike and martial Talbot, Burgundy enshrines thee in her heart, and there erects thy noble deeds as valor's monuments.
Thanks, gentle Duchess. Where is Pucelle now? Now where's the bastard's braves and Charles, his gleeks? What? All a mort? Rouen hangs her head for grief that such a valiant company are fled. Now will we take some order in the town, and then depart to Paris to the king, for there young Henry with his nobles lie.
What wills Lord Talbot pleaseth Burgundy.
But before we go, let's not forget the brave Duchess Bedford, late deceased, but see her exequies fulfilled in Rouen. Braver soldier never couched. A gentler heart did never sway in court.
Dismay not, princes, at this accident, nor grieve that Rouen is so recovered. Let frantic Talbot triumph for a while, and like a peacock sweep along his tail. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train.
I see hitherto. Assassin foil shall never be discussed.
Such are their witful secret policies, and we will make the famous throughout the world.
We'll set thy statue in some holy place and have thee reverenced as a blessed saint. Employ thee then, sweet virgin, for our good.
And thus it must be. This doth Jean devise. By fair persuasions mixed with sugared words, we will entice the Duchess Burgundy to leave the Talbot and to follow us.
Ah, Marie, sweetie, if we could do that, France would no place for Henry's warriors.
Forever should they be expulsed from France and not have title of earldom here.
Your Honor shall perceive how I will work to bring this matter to the wished end. Hark! By the sound of drum you may perceive their powers are marching onto Paris ward. Summonez parlez. We will talk with her.
A parley with the Duchess Burgundy.
craves a parley with the Burgundy?
The princely Charles of France, thy countryman.
What sayest thou, Charles, for I am marching hence?
Sir, and answer with my words.
Look on thy country. Look on fertile France, and see the cities and the towns defaced by wasting ruin of the cruel foe. See the pining malady of France. Behold the wounds, the most unnatural wounds which thou thyself hast given her woeful breast. Oh, turn thy aged sword another way. Strike those that hurt, and act not those that help. One drop of blood drawn from thy country's bosom should grieve thee more than streams of foreign gore. Return thee therefore with a flood of tears and wash away thy country's stained spots.
I there she hath bewitched me with her words. All nature makes me suddenly relent.
Besides, all French and France exclaims on thee, doubting thy birth and lawful progeny. And who joinst thou with but with a lordly nation that will not trust thee but for profit's sake? I call thee to mind and mirth, but this for proof. Was not the Duke of Orleans thy foe? And was he not in England prisoner? But when they heard he was thine enemy, they set him free, without his ransom paid, in spite of Burgundy and all their friends. See, then, thou fightest against thy countrymen, and joinst with them will be thy slaughtermen. Come, return, thou wandering lady.
I am vanquished. These haughty words of hers have battered me like roaring cannon shot, and made me almost yield upon my knees. Forgive me, country, and sweet countrymen, and lords. Accept this hearty kind embrace. My forces and my power of men are yours. So farewell, Talbot. I'll no longer trust thee.
Welcome, brave judges! Friendship makes us fresh. Now, let us on, my lords, and join our powers, and seek how we may prejudice the foe.
My gracious prince and honorable peers, hearing of your arrival in this realm, I have a while given truce unto my wars to do my duty to my sovereign. In sign whereof this arm that hath reclaimed to your obedience 50 fortresses, 12 cities, and 7 walled towns of strength, beside 500 prisoners of esteem, lets fall his sword before your highness' feet, and with submissive loyalty of heart ascribes the glory of his conquest got first to my God, and next unto your grace.
Is this the Lord Talbot, Uncle Gloucester, that hath so long been resident in France?
Yes, if it please your majesty, my liege.
Welcome, brave captain and victorious lord. When I was young, as yet I am not old, I do remember my father said a stouter champion never handled sword. Long since we were resolved of your truth, your faithful service, and your toil in war, yet never have you tasted our reward, because till now we never saw your face. Therefore, stand up, and for thy good deserts we here create the Earl of Shrewsbury, and in our coronation take your place.
Now, sir, to you that were so hot at sea, disgracing of these colours that I wear in honour of my noble Lady York, Darest thou maintain the former words thou spakest?
Yes, madam. Just as you dare patronage your envious words of your saucy tongue against my lord, the Duke of Somerset.
Sirrah, thy lord I honor as he is.
Why, what is he? As good a one as York.
Hark ye, not so. In witness, take ye that.
Villain! Thou know'st that the law of arms is such that whoso draws a sword 'tis present death, or else this blow should broach thy dearest blood. But I'll unto his majesty and crave I may have liberty to venge this wrong.
Well, miscreant, I'll be there sooner than you, and after meet you sooner than you would.
God save King Henry, of that name the 6th.
Esteem none friends, but such as are his friends, and none his foes, but such as shall pretend malicious practices against his state. This shall ye do, so help you righteous God.
My gracious sovereign, as I, Falstaff, rode from Calais to haste unto your coronation, a letter was delivered to my hands, writ to your grace from the Duchess Burgundy.
Shame to the Duchess Burgundy and thee!
Pardon me, princely Henry and the rest. This dastard at the Battle of Patay, when but in all I was 6,000 strong and that the French were almost 10 to 1, before we met or that a stroke was given, like to a trusty squire, did run away. In which assault we lost 1,200 men.
To say the truth, this fact was infamous and ill-beseeming any common man, much more a knight, a captain, and a leader.
When first this order was ordained, my lords, knights of the Garter were of noble birth, valiant and virtuous, full of haughty courage, not fearing death nor shrinking for distress. He then that is not furnished in this sort doth but usurp the sacred name of knight, and should, if I were worthy to be judge, be quite degraded, like a hedge-born swain that doth presume to boast of gentle blood.
Deign to thy countrymen. Thou hearest thy doom. Be packing then, thou that wast a knight. Henceforth we banish thee on pain of death. And now, read the letter from the Duchess, Lady Burgundy.
What means her grace that she hath changed her style? No more, but plain and bluntly, to the king. Has she forgot he is her sovereign? What's here? I have upon especial cause, moved with compassion of my country's wreck, forsaken your pernicious faction, and joined with Charles, the rightful king of France. Oh, monstrous treachery! Can this be so, that in alliance, amity, and oaths there can be found such false, dissembling guile?
What? Doth my Lady Burgundy revolt?
She doth, my lord, and is become your foe.
Why then, Lord Talbot there shall go to her and give her chastisement for this abuse. How say you, my lord? Are you not content?
Content, my liege, yes, but that I am prevented. I should have begged that I might have been employed.
Then gather strength and march unto her straight. Let her perceive how ill we brook her treason, and what offence it is to flout her friends.
I go, my lord. In heart desiring still, you may behold confusion of your foes.
Grant me the combat, gracious sovereign.
And me, my lord. Grant me the combat too.
This is my ally, noble prince. Hear her.
And this is mine, sweet Henry. Favor him.
Gentle ones, what makes you thus exclaim? And wherefore crave you combat? Or with whom?
With him, my lord, for he hath done me wrong.
And I with her, for she hath done me wrong.
What is this wrong whereof you both complain? First let me know, and then I'll answer you.
Crossing the sea from England into France, this fellow here with envious carping tongue upbraided me about the rose I wear, saying that its sanguine leaves did represent my master's blushing cheeks. And in my lord's most humble worthiness, I crave the benefit of law of arms.
And that is my petition, noble lord, for though he seem with forged quaint conceit to set a gloss upon his bold intent, yet know, my lord, I was provoked by him.
Will not this malice Somerset be left?
Your private grudge, my Lady York, will out, though ne'er so cunningly you smother it.
Good lord! What madness reigns in brain-sick men when for so slight and frivolous a cause such factious emulation shall arise? Good cousins both of York and Somerset, quiet yourselves, I pray, and be at peace.
Let this dissension first be tried by fight, and then your highness shall command a peace.
This quarrel toucheth none but us alone. Betwixt ourselves, let us decide it then.
There is my pledge, Somerset. Accept it.
Nay, let it rest where it began at first.
Confirm it so, mine honorable lord.
Confirm it so? Confounded be your strife! Presumptuous vassals, are you not ashamed with this immodest, clamorous outrage to trouble and disturb the king and us?
Come hither, ye that would be combatants. Henceforth I charge thee, as you love our favor, quite to forget this quarrel and the cause. And you, my lords, remember where we are. In France, amongst a fickle, wavering nation. If they perceive dissension in our looks, how will their grudging stomachs be provoked to civil disobedience and rebel? Beside, what infamy will there arise when foreign princes shall be certified that for a toy, a thing of no regard, King Henry's peers and chief nobility destroyed themselves and lost the realm of France? I see no reason, if I wear this rose, that anyone should be suspicious I'm more inclined to Somerset than York. Both are my kinsmen, and I love them both. But your discretions better can persuade than I am able to instruct or teach. And therefore, as we hither came in peace, so let us still continue peace and love. Cousin of York, we institute your grace to be our regent in these parts of France. And good my lord of Somerset, unite your troops of horsemen with her bands of foot. Go cheerfully together, and digest your angry choler on your enemies. Ourself, my lord protector, and the rest, after some respite, will return to Calais, from thence to England, where I hope ere long to be presented by your victories with Charles, Alençon, and that traitorous rout.
My Lady York, I promise you the king, prettily methought, did play the orator.
And so he did. But yet I like it not in that he wears the badge of Somerset.
Gosh, that was but his fancy. Blame him not. I dare presume, sweet prince, he thought no harm.
And if a whis he did. But let it rest. Other affairs must now be managed.
Well didst thou, Richard, to suppress thy voice. For had the passions of thy heart burst out, I fear we should have seen deciphered there more rancorous spite, more furious raging broils, than yet can be imagined or supposed. But howsoever no simple man that sees this jarring discord of nobility, this shouldering of each other in the court, this factious bandying of each other's favorites. But sees it doth presage some ill event. 'Tis much when scepters are in children's hands, but more when envy breeds unkind division. There begins the ruin. There begins confusion.
Go to the gates of Bordeaux, trumpeter. Summon their general unto the wall. English John Talbot, captains, calls you forth. Servant-in-arms to Harry, King of England, and thus he would open your city gates. Be humble to us, call my sovereign yours, and I'll withdraw me and my bloody power. But if you frown upon this proffered peace, you tempt the fury of my 3 attendants, lean famine, quartering steel, and climbing fire.
On us thou canst not enter but by death, for I protest we are well fortified and strong enough to issue out of fights. If thou retire, the Dalthon well appointed stands with the snares of war to tangle thee. On either hand thee, there are squadrons pitched to wall thee from the liberty of flight. 10,000 French have deigned the sacrament to ride their dangerous artillery upon no Christian soul but English Talbots. Yea, there thou standst, a breathing, valiant man of an invincible, unconquered spirit. This is the latest glory of thy praise, that I, thy enemy, do thee withal. For ere the glass that now begins to run finish the process of the sandy hour, these eyes that see thee now well colored will see thee withered, bloody, pale, and dead. Hark, hark! The Dalphin's drum, a warning bell, sings heavy music to thy timorous soul, and mine shall ring thy dire departure out.
He fables not, I hear the enemy. Out, some light horsemen, and peruse their wings. Oh, negligent and heedless discipline. How are we parked and bounded in a pale? A little herd of England's timorous deer, mazed with a yelping kennel of French curds. Turn on the bloody hounds with heads of steel, and make the cowards stand aloof at bay. God and St. George, Talbot and England's right, prosper our colors in this dangerous fight.
Are not the speedy scouts returned again that dogged the mighty army of the Dauphin?
They are returned, my lady, and they have avowed that he has marched to Bordeaux with his power to fight with Talbot. As he marched along by your espials were discovered 2 mightier troops on the Dauphin led, which joined with him and made their march for Bordeaux.
A plague upon that villain Somerset that thus delay my promised supply of horsemen that were levied for this siege. Renowned Talbot doth expect my aid, and cannot help the noble chevalier. God, comfort him in his necessity. If he miscarry, farewell wars in France.
The princely leaders of the English strength spur to the rescue of the noble Talbot, who now is girdled with a waist of iron and emmed about with grim destruction. To Bordeaux, warlike duchess, to Bordeaux! Else farewell, Talbot, France, and England honour.
Oh, God, that Somerset, who in proud heart doth stop my coronets, were in Talbot's place. So should we save a valiant gentleman by forfeiting a coward and a traitor.
Oh, send some succour to the distressed lord.
He dies, we lose. I break my warlike word. We mourn, France smiles, we lose. They daily get all along of this vile traitor Somerset.
That God have mercy on brave Talbot's soul, and on his daughter Jane, who 2 hours since I met in travel toward her warlike father.
Alas, what joy shall noble Talbot have to bid his daughter welcome to her grave! Away! Vexation almost stops my breath that sundered friends greet at the hour of death. Maine, Blois, Poitiers, and Tours are all won away, long all of Somerset in his delay.
Thus while the vulture of sedition feeds in the bosom of such great commanders, sleeping neglection doth betray to loss the conquest of that scarce cold conqueror, Henri V, whilst they each other cross. Lives, honor, land, and all hurry to loss.
It's too late. I cannot send them now. This expedition was by York and Talbot too rashly plotted. All our general force might with us sally of the very town be buckled with. The overdaring Talbot hath sullied all his gloss of former honor with this unheedful, desperate, wild adventure. York set him on to fight and die in shame. The Talbot dead, great York might bear the name. How now, my lady? Whither were you sent?
Whither, my lord? From bought and sold Lord Talbot, who ringed about with bold adversity, cries out for noble York and Somerset. You is false hopes that trust of England's honor keep off with worthless emulation. Let not your private discord keep away the levied succours that would lend him aid, while he, renowned noble gentleman, yields up his life unto a world of odds, and Talbot perisheth by your default.
York set him on. York should have sent him aid.
And York, as fast upon your grace, exclaims, swearing that you withhold the levied host collected for this expedition.
York lies. She might have sent and had the horse. I owe her little love and less duty.
The fraud of England, not the force of France, hath now entrapped the noble-minded Talbot.
Come. Go. I will dispatch the horsemen straight. Within 6 hours they will be at his aid.
Too late comes rescue. He is ta'en or slain. For fly he could not, if he would have fled, and fly would Talbot never, though he might.
If he be dead, brave Talbot, then adieu.
His fame lives in the world, his shame in you.
Young Jane Talbot, I did send for thee to tutor thee in stratagems of war, but... Oh, malignant and ill-boding stars! Now thou art come unto a feast of death. Therefore, dear girl, mount upon my swiftest horse, and I'll direct thee how thou shalt escape by sudden flight. Come, dally not, be gone!
Is my name Talbot? And am I your daughter? And shall I fly? Oh, if you love my mother, dishonor not her honorable name to make a bastard and a slave of me. They will say, she is not Talbot's blood, who basely fled where noble Talbot stood.
Fly to revenge my death if I am slain.
She that so flies will ne'er return again.
If we both stay, we both are sure to die.
Then let me stay. And father, do you fly? Your loss is great, so your regard should be. My worth is unknown. No loss is known in me. Flight cannot stain the honor you have won, but mine it will, that no exploit have done. You fled for vantage, everyone will swear, but if I go, they'll say it was for fear.
But shall all thy mother's hopes lie in one tomb?
I, rather than I'd shame my mother's womb.
On my blessing, I command thee, go!
To fight I will. but not to flee the foe. If death be so apparent, then both fly.
And leave my followers here to fight and die. My age was never tainted with such shame.
And shall my youth be guilty of such blame? No more can I be severed from your side than can yourself in twain divide. Stay, go. Do what you will, the like do I. For live I will not if my father die.
Then here I take my leave of thee, fair one, born to eclipse thy life this afternoon. Come, side by side, together live and die. And soul with soul from France to heaven fly! Where is young Jane Talbot? Oh, pause. Take thy breath. I gave thee life and rescued thee from death.
Twice my father, twice am I thy daughter. The life thou gavest me first was naught but fodder too. With thy warlike sword, despite of fate, with thou determinedst time, thou gavest new date.
When from the Dauphin's crest thy sword struck fire, it warmed thy father's heart with proud desire of bold-faced victory, and then led an age, quickened with youthful spleen and warlike rage, beat down Alençon, Orleans, Burgundy, and from the pride of Gallia rescued thee. Wilt thou yet leave the battle? Turn and fly, now thou art sealed, the child of chivalry. Fly to revenge my death when I am dead. The help of one stands me in little stead. By me they nothing gain, and if I stay, 'tis but the shortening of my life one day. In thee thy mother dies, our household's name, my death's revenge, thy youth, and England's fame. All these and more we hazard by thy stay. All these are saved, if thou wilt fly away.
The sword of Orleans hath not made me smart. These words of yours draw lifeblood from my heart. On that advantage, brought with such a shame to save a paltry life and slay bright fame, before young Talbot from old Talbot fly, the coward horse that bears me fail and die, then talk no more of flight. It is no boot. If child to Talbot, die at Talbot's foot.
Thou wilt fight. Fight by thy father's side, and commendable proved, let's die in pride! Where is my other life? My own is taken. Where's young Talbot? Where is valiant Jane? Triumphant death. Smeared with captivity, young Talbot's valor makes me smile at thee. When she perceived me shrinking on my knee, her bloody sword she brandished over me, and like a hungry lion did commence rough deeds of rage and stern impatience into the clustering battle of the French. And in that sea of blood my girl did drench her over-mounting spirit, and there died my Icarus, my blossom in her pride.
Oh, my dear lord, lo, where your daughter is born.
Thou antic death, which laughs us here to scorn. 2 Talbots, winged through lither sky and night, despite shall scape mortality. Thou, whose wounds become hard-favoured death, speak to thy father ere thou yield thy breath. Brave death by speaking whether he will or no. Imagine him a Frenchman and thy foe. Come and lay her in her father's arms. My spirit can no longer bear these harms. Soldiers, adieu. I have what I would have. Now my old arms are young Jane Talbot's. Great. Oh.
York in Somerset was rescuing. We also found a bloody diaries.
How the young whelp of Talbot's raging wood did hew her puny sword in Frenchman's blood.
Doubtless she would have made a noble knight. See where she lies, inhersed in the arms of the most bloody nurser of her harms.
Hew them to pieces, hack their Bowdens asunder, whose life was England's glory, Gallia's wonder.
Oh no, forbear. That which we have fled during the life, that is not wrong, it dead. On what submissive message art thou sent?
I come to know what prisoners thou hast ta'en, and to survey the bodies of the dead.
For prisoners, answer? Hell, our prison is. But tell me whom thou seekest.
But where's the great Alcides of the field? The great Lord Talbot, Earl of Suffolk, created for his rare success in arms, Knight of the Order of St. George, great Marshal to Henry VI of all his wars in all the realm of France.
Here is a city stately style indeed. Him that thou magnifiest with all these titles, stinking and fly-blown lies here at our feet.
Is Talbot slain, the Frenchman's only scourge? Your kingdom's terror and black nemesis? Oh, that I could but call these dead to life. Give me their bodies that I may bear them hence, and give them burial as beseems their worth.
I think this upsets old Talbot's ghost, for she speaks with such a strong, commanding spirit. If for God's sake, let her have them. To leave them here, they would but stink and putrefy the air.
Go, take their parties hence, so we be rid of them. Do with them what thou wilt. Now, on the Paris in this conquering vein, all will be ours. Now, bloody trumpet, flame.
Have you perused the letters from the Pope, the Emperor, and the Earl of Armagnac?
I have, my lord, and their intent is this. They humbly sue unto your excellence to have a godly peace concluded of between the realms of England and of France.
And how doth your grace affect their motion?
Well, my good lord, and as the only means to stop effusion of our Christian blood and establish quietness on every side.
Ay, marry, uncle, for I always thought it was both impious and unnatural that such immanity and bloody strife should reign among professors of one faith.
The Earl of Armagnac, near-knit to Charles, a man of great authority in France, proffers his only daughter to your grace in marriage with a large and sumptuous dowry.
Marriage? Uncle! Alas, my years are young. Yet, call the ambassador, and as you please, I shall be content with any choice tends to God's glory and my country's weal.
What? Is my Lady Winchester installed and called unto a cardinal's degree? Henry V did sometime prophesy, if at once she come to be a cardinal, she'll make her cap co-equal with the crown.
My lords ambassadors, your several suits have been considered and debated on. Therefore are we pleasantly resolved to draw conditions of a friendly peace, by which we mean my Lady Winchester shall be transported presently to France.
And for the proffer of Lord Armagnac, I have informed his highness so at large, as liking of the lady's virtuous gifts, he doth intend she shall be England's queen.
In argument and proof of which contract, send her this jewel, pledge of my affection.
Now Winchester will not submit, I trow, or be inferior to the proudest peer. Humphrey of Gloucester, thou wilt well perceive that neither by birth or for authority the bishop will be overborne by thee. I'll either make thee stoop and bend thy knee, or sack this country with a mutiny.
News, my lords, may cheer our drooping spirits. 'Tis said the stout Parisians do revolt and turn again to the warlike French.
Then march to Paris, Royal Charles of France, and hold not back your powers and dalliance.
What tidings sends our scouts, I prithee, speak?
The English army that was divided into two parties is now conjoined in one and means to give you battle presently.
Somewhat too sudden, my lords, the warning is. But we will presently provide for them.
I trust the ghost of Talbot is not there. Now he is gone, my lord. You need not fear.
Of all base passions, fear is most accursed. Command the conquest, Charles. It shall be thine. Let Henry fret, and all the world repine. the region conquers, and the Frenchmen fly. Oh, no help. You, Jasmine's pleasant, very absent. You, choice spirits that admonish me and bring me signs of future accidents. You, speedy outbursts that are substitutes under the lovely monarchs of the north. Now you, familiar spirits that are called out of the powerful regions of the earth, help me this once, that France may get the field. Oh, hold me not with silence over wrong! No, to have redress. My body shall pay recompense if you will grant my suit. Cannot my body, no soul, no blood sacrifice entreat you to your wanted furtherance? Then take my soul, my body, soul and all, before that England give the French the foil. See, they forsake me. Now the time has come that France must veil her lofty plumed crest and let her head fall into England's lap. My ancient incantations are too weak, and are too strong for me to buckle with.
Damsel of France, I think I have you fast, a goodly prize fit for the devil's grace. See how the ugly wench doth bend her brow, as if with Circe would change my shape.
Changed to a worse shape thou canst not be.
Oh, Charles Dauphin is a proper man, no shape but his can please your dainty eye.
A plaguing mischief light on Charles and thee, and may you both be suddenly surprised by bloody hands in sleeping on your beds.
Curse mystery, when thou comes to the stake.
Be what thou wilt, thou art my prisoner. Oh, fairest madam, do not fear nor fly, for I will touch thee with reverent hands. Who art thou? Say that I may honor thee.
Margaret's my name, and daughter to a king, the King of Naples, whosoever thou art.
An earl I am, and Suffolk I am called. Oh, be not offended, nature's miracle, for thou art allotted to be ta'en by me. Yet if this servile usage once offend, go, and be free again as Suffolk's friend. Oh, stay! I have no power to let her pass. My hand would free her, but my heart says no. Fain would I woo her. Ooh, yet I dare not speak. Hast thou not a tongue? Is she not here? Wilt thou be daunted by a woman's sight?
Say, Earl of Suffolk, if thy name be so, what ransom must I pay before I pass, for I perceive I am thy prisoner?
how dost thou know that she will deny thy suit before thou make a trial of her love?
Why speak'st thou not? What ransom must I pay?
Fond man, remember that thou hast a wife. Then how can I make Margaret thy paramour?
I were best to leave him, for he will not hear.
I'll win this, Margaret. For whom? Why, for my king. Tush, that is a wooden thing.
He talks of wood. It is some carpenter.
Yet, so my fancy be satisfied, and peace established between these two realms. But there lies a scruple in that too, for though her father be the King of Naples, Duke of Anjou and Maine, he is but poor, and our nobility will scorn the match. It shall be so, disdain they ne'er so much. Henry is youthful, and will quickly yield. Madam, I have a secret to reveal.
But though I be enslaved, he seems a knight, and will not in any way dishonor me.
Lady, vouchsafe and listen what I say.
Perhaps I shall be rescued by the French, and then I need not crave his courtesy.
Sweet madam, give me hearing in a cause.
Tush, women have been captivated now.
Lady, pray tell me, wherefore talk thou so?
I cry you mercy. 'Tis but quid for quo.
Say, gentle princess, wouldst thou suppose thy bondage happy to be made a queen?
To be a queen in bondage is more vile than is a slave in base civility, for a princess should be free.
And so shall you, if happy England's royal king be free.
Why, what concerns his freedom unto me?
I'll undertake to make you Henry's queen, to set a golden scepter in thy hand, and place a precious crown upon thy head, if thou wilt condescend to be my...
What?
His love.
I am not worthy to be Henry's wife.
No, no, gentle madam, 'tis I who unworthy to... It is I who is unworthy to woo so fair a dame for his wife, and have no portion of the choice myself. How say thou, madam? Are you so content?
And if my father please, I am content.
Then at your father's castle walls we'll crave a parley to confer with him. See, Renier! See! Your daughter, prisoner!
To whom?
To me.
Suffolk, what remedy?
Consent, and for your honor to give consent. Your daughter is to be wedded to my king, whom I with pain have wooed and won thereto.
Speak Suffolk as he thinks.
Fair Margaret knows that Suffolk doth not flatter face nor feign.
Upon that princely warrant I descend to give thee answer of thy just demand.
And here I shall expect thy coming. What answer makes your grace unto my suit?
Since thou doth deign to woo her little worth, to be the princely bride of such a lord, upon condition I may enjoy mine own, the county Maine and Anjou, free from the stroke of oppression or war. My daughter shall be Henry's, if you please.
That is her ransom? I deliver her, and those 2 counties I'll undertake your grace shall well and quietly enjoy.
And I, in Henry's royal name, give thee her hand for sign of plighted faith.
Renier of France, I give thee kingly thanks, for this is in traffic of a king.
Farewell, my lord. Good wishes, prayers, and prayers shall Suffolk ever have of Margaret.
Farewell, sweet madam. Oh, but hark you, Margaret. No princely commendations for my king?
Such commendations as becomes a maid, a virgin, a servant say to him.
Words sweetly placed and modestly directed. But, madam, I must trouble you again. No loving token to his majesty?
Why, yes, my lord, a pure unspotted heart, never yet taint with love, I send the king.
And this withal.
That for thyself. I will not presume to send such peevish tokens to a king.
Oh, wert thou for myself? But Suffolk, stay. Thou mayst not wander in that labyrinth. Solicit Henry with her wondrous praise. Bethink thee on her virtues that surmount, and natural graces that extinguish art. Repeat their semblance often on the seas, so that when thou comest to kneel at Henry's feet, thou mayst bereave him of his wits with wonder.
Take her away, for she hath lived too long to fill the world with vicious qualities.
First, let me tell you whom you have condemned. Not me, begotten of a shepherd's wing, but issued from the progeny of kings, virtuous and only chosen from above by inspiration of celestial grace to work exceeding miracles on earth. I never had to do with wicked spirits, but you, that are polluted with your lust, stained with the guiltless blood of innocence, you judge it straight a thing impossible, but to compass wonders but by help of devils. No, misconceived. Joan of Arc hath been a virgin from her tender infancy, whose maiden blood, thus rigorously infused, will cry for vengeance at the gate of heaven.
Aye, away with her to execution.
Place barrels of pitch upon the fatal stake, so that her torture may be so shortened.
For nothing time your unrelenting arts. Good Joan, discover thine infirmity, that warranteth by law to be thy privilege. I am a child to ye bloody homicides. Murder not then the fruit within my womb will though yield me to a violent death.
Now heaven forfend the holy maid with child.
This is the greatest miracle that e'er ye wrought. Is all your strict preciseness come to this? Well, go to. We'll have no bastards live, especially since Charles must father it.
You are deceived. My child is none of his. It was Alençon that enjoyed my love.
Alençon, the notorious Machiavel. It dies, and if it had 1,000 lives.
Oh, give me leave. I have deluded you. It was neither Charles nor yet the Duke I named, but Renier, King of Naples, that prevailed.
A married man, that's most intolerable. It's a sign she hath been liberal and free.
And yet, forsooth, she is a virgin pure. Strumpet, thy words condemn thy brat, and thee. Use no entreaty, for it is in vain.
Then lead me hence, with whom I leave my curse. May never glorious sun reflects his beams upon the country where you make abode, but darkness and the gloomy shade of death environ you, to mischief and despair drive you to break your necks or hang yourselves.
Thou to pieces, and consume to ashes, thou foul, accursed minister of hell.
Lady, I do greet your excellence with letters of commission from the king. For know you now, all the nations of Christendom do earnestly entreat a general peace betwixt our nation and the aspiring French.
So many soldiers, gentlemen, and captains that in this quarrel have their bodies overthrown and sold their bodies for their country's benefit. Shall we at last conclude a permanent peace? Have we not lost most part of all the towns by treason, falsehood, and by treachery our great progenitors had conquered? Warwick, I foresee with grief the utter loss of all the realms of France!
Or, be patient, York. If we conclude a peace, it shall be with such strict and severe covenants as little shall the Frenchmen gain thereby.
Since lords of England, it is thus agreed that peaceful truce shall be proclaimed in France. We come to be informed by yourselves what the conditions of that league must be.
Speak, Winchester, for boiling choler chokes the hollow passage of my poisoned voice.
Charles, and the rest. It is enacted thus, that in regard King Henry gives consent to ease your country of distressful war, you shall become true liegeman to his crown. And, Charles, if thou wilt agree to pay him tribute and submit thyself, thou wilt be placed as viceroy under him, and still enjoy thy regal dignity.
Must he then be a shadow of himself, adorn his temple with a coronet, and yet, in substance and authority, retain the privilege of a private man? This proper is absurd and reasonless.
Shall I, for lucre of the Western vanquished, detach so much from that prerogative as to be called but viceroy of the whole? Oh no, ambassador. I'd rather keep that which I have, coveting for more, because from possibility. Oh.
Either accept the title thou usurpest of benefit proceeding from the king, or we will plague thee with incessant wars.
My lord, you do not well in obstinacy to cavil in the course of this contract. If once it be neglected, 10 to 1 we will not find like opportunity.
Say the truth. It is your policy to save your citizens from such massacres and ruthless slaughters are daily seen by our proceeding in hostility. Therefore, take this compact of truce, although you break it when your pleasure serves.
How sayest thou, Charles? Shall our conditions stand?
Ciao. Only reserved. You claim no interest in any of our towns or garrisons.
Then swear allegiance to his majesty, as thou art knight, never to disobey, nor to be rebellious to the crown of England. So now, dismiss your army when ye please. Hang up your ensign, let your drums be still, for here we entertain a solemn peace.
Your wondrous, rare description, noble Earl, of beauteous Margaret hath astonished me. Her virtues, graced with external gifts, do breed love-settled passions in my heart.
Hush, my good lord. This superficial tale is but preface to her worthy praise. And what is more, she is not so divine, so full replete with choice of all delights, but with a humble lowliness of mind, she is content to be at your command. Command, I mean, of virtuous, chaste intents, to love and honor Henry as her lord.
And otherwise will Henry ne'er presume. Therefore, my Lord Protector, give consent that Margaret shall be England's royal queen.
So should I give consent to flatter sin? You know, my lord, his majesty is betrothed unto another lady of esteem. How shall we then dispense with that contract and not deface his honor with reproach?
A poor earl's daughter is of unequal odds, and therefore can be broke without offense.
Why, what I praise is Margaret more than that? Her father is no better than an earl, although in glorious titles he excel.
Yes, my lord, her father is a king. King of Naples and Jerusalem, and of such great authority in France that his alliance will confirm our peace and keep the Frenchmen in allegiance.
And so the Earl of Armagnac may do, because he is close kinsman unto Charles. Besides, his wealth doth warrant a liberal dower, where Renier sooner will receive than give.
A dower? My lords, disgrace not so your king, that he should be so abject, base, and poor to choose for wealth and not for perfect love. Henry is able to enrich his queen, and not seek a queen to make him rich. And not whom we will, but whom his grace most affects, must be companion to his nuptial bed, and therefore, since he affects her most, in our opinions she should be preferred. Whom shall we match with Henry, being a king? Then Margaret, daughter to a king. Her peerless feature joined with her birth approves her fit for none but for a king. And Henry, son unto a conqueror, is likely to beget more conquerors if with a woman of such high resolve as fair Margaret he be linked in love. Then yield, my lords, and here confirm with me that Margaret shall be queen and none but she.
Whether it be through force of your report, my noble Earl of Suffolk, or for that my tender years were never yet attaint with any passions of inflaming love, I cannot tell. But this I am assured. I feel a sharp dissension in my breast as I am sick with working of my thoughts. Take therefore shipping. Post, my lord, to France, agree to any covenants, and procure that Lady Margaret do vouchsafe to come to cross the seas to England, and be crowned King Henry's faithful and anointed queen. And you, good uncle, banish all offense. If you do censure me by what you were, not what you are, I know it will excuse this sudden execution of my will. And so conduct me where from company I may revolve and ruminate my grief.
I grieve. I fear me both at first and last.
Thus Suffolk prevails, and so he goes, as did youthful Paris down to Greece, with hopes to find the like event in love, though prosper better than the Trojan did. Margaret shall be queen, and rule over king, but I'll rule both her, the king, and realm.